Alien franchise, future of the franchise, and the entire saga chronologically explained. The Alien franchise has been around since the year 1979, and despite being dormant for the last few years, it will be back in full swing in the year 2022 and 2023, with the next Alien movie being produced by the man who started it all, Ridley Scott, and directed by Fede Alvarez. Furthermore, there'll also be a live-action TV show, and there are talks of many more exciting projects in the future. This science fiction horror and thriller franchise became a fan favorite in almost no time, and still continues to be one of the best sagas in that genre. It has a little bit of everything you might expect from a science fiction movie, but it built its foundation on aliens, humanoids, and the character Ellen Ripley played by Sigourney Weaver. In this video, we will explore the Alien films in chronological order and tell you everything we know about the franchise's potential future. But before we begin, please consider subscribing to us. It may be a small click from you, but it goes a long way for us. Let's begin, shall we? Number 1, Prometheus, 2012. In 2089, archaeologists Elizabeth Shaw and Charlie Holloway discover a star map in Scotland. This is interpreted as an invitation from the engineers, who were an ancient species believed to be the creators of mankind. Peter Weyland, who is the CEO of Weyland Corporation, funds an expedition where the vessel Prometheus will be used to follow the map to the distant moon LV-223. The team arrives in December 2093, where the mission director Meredith Vickers informs them of their mission to find the engineers, but they are not allowed to make any contact with them without her permission.
You won't engage them. You won't talk to them. You will do nothing but report back to me.
The Prometheus lands on a mountain surface, near a large artificial structure, interesting enough for the team to explore. As they do so, they find the corpse of an alien, most likely the engineer, and Elizabeth recovers its head. Soon after, they find other bodies and come to the conclusion that this species might be extinct. Later, David intentionally infects Charlie with the black liquid that he found earlier, slipping it into Charlie's glass of champagne. After the party, Elizabeth and Charlie have a little coitus, and then Charlie notices changes in his eyes. His infection spreads rapidly.
Down here, what do you say, huh?
Holloway's sick. He's not good.
And he is rushed back to Prometheus, but they refuse to let in, instituting quarantine protocols. He approaches Vickers, the mission director, begging her to kill him, and understanding that it is in his best interest, she does so, using a flamethrower. After events unfold, we find out that despite being infertile, Elizabeth is pregnant and Vickers is Weyland's daughter, where she also reveals that he intends to seek help from engineers to avoid his inevitable demise. We also find that the engineers aren't in fact extinct and have no intentions of letting anyone get out of there alive, and instead of helping Weyland become immortal, one of the engineers kills him. And now the question remains, will the rest survive? Prometheus was the classic definition of a perfect science fiction film. It ticked all the boxes: set in the future, an alien species, the brutal death of several characters, a humanoid, and much more. This was one of the most anticipated films to be released, and it met all its exceptions, exceeding in multiple areas. While it is very different from the Alien films, it stands firm on its feet better as an independent film, away from the entire franchise. Along with a great script and direction, Prometheus is a film that is pleasing to look at with the set direction and CGI. Number 2, Alien Covenant, 2017. 11 years after the Prometheus expedition, the colonization ship Covenant is bound for a remote planet, Origi 6, with 15 crew members, 2,000 colonists in stasis, and 1,140 human embryos aboard. The ship is monitored by Walter, a newer android model that physically resembles David. However, a stellar burst resulted in a damaged ship, killing 47 of the colonists. This prompts Walter to wake the crew members up, and the ship's captain, Jake Branson, is burned alive when his pod malfunctions. The new captain, Oram, decides to investigate a nearby habitable planet. However, things don't go as planned when 2 crew members are infected by alien spores. They are soon quarantined, but a small, pale, alien creature called Neomorph bursts from one of their backs, killing him, and then goes on to kill 2 more crew members. There are now 2 neomorphs, and while the crew kills one, David scares the other one away. He then leads the remaining crew to a temple in a city full of dead humanoids, but the remaining neomorph infiltrates the temple, killing another crew member, but soon after, Orm kills it. Things escalate when Orm is attacked by a face-hugger, a parasitoid with 8 finger-like legs. The film progresses, and after a disagreement, David disables Walter, but the voyage of the Covenant continues and regurgitates 2 face-hugger embryos which he stores along with the human embryos, after which he sends a transmission that all crew members apart from 2 were killed in the solar flare accident as he continues his journey. This film serves as the sequel to Prometheus and is connected to the Alien franchise, but much like Prometheus, this film is a great standalone. While it received some mixed reviews, mainly because of the characters, it still has a little bit of everything. Even though most characters don't survive by the end of the film, David does, and it seems that director Ridley Scott wished to make him the central and recurring character. Covenant passes for a science fiction horror because of the aliens, especially the face-huggers, with some nightmare-inducing scenes. Some viewers complained that it wasn't the best addition to the Alien franchise, and maybe that's the beauty of it. Number 3, Alien, 1979. A commercial space tug Nostromo is returning to Earth with 7 members in its crew, including Warrant Officer Ripley, Captain Dallas, Executive Officer Kane, and others. When the ship's computer, Mother, awakens them, as per protocol, any distress signal must be investigated. Lambert, Kane, and Dallas head outside the ship to explore and investigate when Kane discovers a chamber containing hundreds of large xenomorph eggs. As he touches one, a face-hugger springs out of the egg, breaking through Kane's helmet and latches onto his face. Dallas and Lambert carry him back Nostromo, and despite Ripley's protests, Ash lets them inside.
We have to get him inside.
The creature eventually detaches itself from Kane, and apart from some memory loss, he seems fine until a small alien creature burst from his chest, killing him immediately, quickly escaping into the ship. The crew now embarks on a journey, trying to find this chest buster in their ship. But the chest buster grew rapidly into an adult, and Lambert suggests abandoning the ship and taking its shuttle to escape, but Ripley reminds him that all of them wouldn't fit in the shuttle, hence they would have to flush this alien out immediately. Ripley soon finds out the truth about Ash, realizing that Ash was a synthetic, and had been secretly ordered by the company to bring this alien back. As the events unfold, Ripley is ready to escape in the shuttle, but realizes she isn't alone. The alien has wedged itself in the narrow space. Will Ripley successfully make it back home? Even if she does, will the alien accompany her? One of the best films in the science fiction genre, Alien by Ridley Scott, never fails to amaze its audience. It has a slow build-up. We are introduced to the characters and conflict as the plot thickens, with the movie progressing into its climax. It has the right amount of jump scares to keep the viewers on the edge of their seats, paying homage to the science fiction horror genre. The special effects in this film steal the show, despite being one of the older films in this genre. Alien is a classic and the very beginning of a franchise that people would be hooked on to even decades after its release. Number 4, Aliens, 1986. Ellen Ripley has been in stasis for 57 years in an escape shuttle after destroying her ship, the Nostromo, to escape the xenomorph that killed her entire crew. She is summoned by her employers at the Weyland-Yutani Corporation, who are disbelieving about her claim of the existence of an alien.
No physical evidence of the creature you described.
Good.
After contact is lost with the colony, Weyland-Yutani Representative Carter Burke and Colonial Marine Lieutenant Gorman ask Ripley to accompany them to investigate, which she agrees to under certain conditions. Ripley is introduced to the Colonial Marines and an android, Bishop, on the spaceship. They reach the surface of LV-426, but soon realize that the colony is deserted. There are signs of battles, but no bodies are found. As things escalate, multiple adult aliens ambush the Marines and kill most of them, causing a panic. This prompts Ripley to take control of the situation to try and rescue Hicks, Hudson, and Vasquez, but things don't go as planned when they barricade themselves inside the colony. Ripley discovers some unpleasant intentions of Burke, and while she intends on exposing him, she and Newt are attacked by a face-hugger while they're in the medical plant. Despite the Marines killing the face-huggers, an alien attack causes Newt and Ripley to separate. Ripley and Hicks reach Bishop in another dropship, but Ripley is determined to save Newt, unwilling to leave the little girl behind. A heavily armed Ripley now has to fight the Xenomorph Queen, but will she survive? Will she be able to save Newt and return back to Earth safely? One of the greatest films made and an excellent follow-up to Alien, this film transports its viewers to another world altogether. Aliens is the perfect example of a science fiction action film. The audience was thrilled after this film because no one believed that aliens could be better, or even come close to the 1979 film Alien. Ripley and Newt are two characters that steal the show by bringing an emotional aspect to this otherwise thrilling film, keeping everyone invested in it from start to finish. It had multiple groundbreaking scenes, and no one could predict what would happen next, making it a great addition to the Alien saga. But unfortunately, Aliens was probably the last film of the franchise that had gravity. Number 5, Aliens 3, 1992. Following the events of Aliens, there's an escape pod with Ripley, Newt, Hicks, and damaged android Bishop. Their pod crash lands on Fiorina Fury 161, a maximum security, all-male work correctional facility inhabited by male inmates who suffer from a genetic mutation that gives them a tendency for being antisocial. The inmates help recover the pod and, while also trying to save Ripley, Newt, Hicks, and Bishop. However, a facehugger approaches a dog named Spike. When Ripley wakes up, she learns that she was the sole survivor and that Hicks and Newt had sadly passed away. She demands an autopsy from the prison doctor.
I told you. We have to make sure how she died.
And then requests for their bodies to be burned, after which she is warned by the prison warden that her presence might have caused some disruption. After finding Bishop's body in the dumpster, and almost being attacked by some inmates, Ripley decides to reactivate Bishop, who confirms that a facehugger had made its way to Fiorina from their escape pod. She informs the prison warden, making sure he understands the threat that this facehugger poses, and while skeptical, he explains that the facility has no weapons, and their only hope is a rescue ship being sent for Ripley. As events unfold, the prison guard and the warden are both killed by the alien, putting Ripley in a commanding position, being the only person with any knowledge about this creature. She scans herself using some medical equipment from the ship and finds out an alien embryo growing inside her, which protects her from the alien killing her. She agrees to help the prison inmates get rid of the alien, but only on one condition, that Dylan, a spiritual leader at the facility, kills her. Will they get rid of the alien, and will that be the end of Ripley? This film is very different compared to Alien and Aliens, and a below-average installment in the saga. Alien 3 is one of the darkest and more thought-provoking films of this franchise so far. We journey with Ripley yet again, only this time she truly is all alone in an unknown land, fighting her way through it. This film has been largely looked over and underappreciated because of the first two films, and rightly so because of David Fincher's direction and story, along with plenty of plot holes throughout the film. However, as most of Fincher's films are, this film isn't for everyone, with certain moments that will make you flinch and look away. Interestingly, in the director's cut, the facehugger was supposed to impregnate a bull, instead of a dog. However, the resultant xenomorph was invariably a runner xenomorph. Number 6, Alien Resurrection, 1997. Fast forward to 200 years later, United Systems military scientists on the space vessel Auriga create a clone of Ripley, with the help of her DNA samples taken before her death, and name it Ripley 8. They combine the alien queen's DNA along with Ripley's so that the clone grows up with the embryo inside it, and as a result of this, Ripley 8 has enhanced reflexes and strength, along with slightly acidic blood. It has also been able to retain some of Ripley's memories from before her death. Soon, a group of mercenaries arrives at Auriga on their ship Betty, delivering several abducted humans who are used as a host for the aliens by the United Systems military. The Betty crew then encounters Ripley 8, and the familiarity with the name causes one of them to try and kill her, but it's too late since the xenomorphs have already been cloned. The now mature xenomorphs are aware of their acidic blood and escape the confinement. They destroy Origa and kill a majority of the crew. Ripley 8, the mercenaries, and the few surviving members decide to head for Betty and use it to destroy Origa. As events unfold, one xenomorph survives and captures Ripley 8, while the others head for Betty. Despite being taken to the alien nest, Ripley 8 manages to cause a distraction and escape, heading for Betty. The crew struggles to take off, giving Ripley 8 enough time to reach the ship. Despite being on board and ready to escape, they are unable to do so. Will the survivors meet their fate on the ship? Or will they successfully escape, making their way back to Earth? While some may argue that Alien Resurrection was an unnecessary installment to the franchise, it was fresh and entertaining. This film takes place after Ripley's death. However, actress Sigourney Weaver manages to keep her role in this saga because of Ripley 8, a clone. This film was directed by Jean-Pierre Jeunet and written by Joss Whedon, which was an unlikely duo for this franchise, making the film a lot different from the first three, but a box office success nonetheless. By this point, the directors, creators, and the studio have realized that despite the slight repetition, the audience still enjoys these films, and will continue to do so. Having said that, the film was not much of a critical or commercial success, but credit has to be given to the film's special effects. Future of the franchise. Currently unreleased, another Alien film is officially in the works and will be produced by the man who started it all, Ridley Scott, and directed by Fede Alvarez. It has been a few years since we've seen an Alien film return, but Alien 5 comes with some big promises and one of the fan-favorite antagonists making a return, the Xenomorphs. There are rumors about the film releasing on the streaming platform, Hulu, making it accessible for more fans. While the plot is still being kept under the wraps, we know that this film is less likely to link back to any of the previous Alien films, making it a standalone. This film will introduce us to new characters and a fresh cast altogether. 20th Century Studios' Steve Asbell in an interview spoke about the film, where he said, "It's not a film that has to be all things to all people with those gargantuan budgets. They get to be authentically what they are. And this is closer to its genre roots." This hopefully has reassured the fans that even though it isn't a continuation, it is something exciting to look forward to. Alvarez's work on Don't Breathe and Evil Dead shows promise and his ability to work with a dark genre. Along with Alien 5, directed by Fede Alvarez and produced by Ridley Scott, there is an Alien TV series in the works from showrunner Noah Hawley, set to debut on FX. The show is set to begin production in the spring of 2022, and will likely begin airing on FX by 2023. The Alien franchise is now set to explore their films and shows on Earth, which is something that has been previously ignored, and hopefully, this helps them reconnect with their audience. That was all in this video. Do hang around for more awesome content on aliens, predators, and more. Take care, and have a good one.